Hello, welcome to our health and safety training. This is module 1, Introduction to Health and Safety Law. What are we going to cover in this module? We're going to be covering the benefit of health and safety, the main causes of workplace ill health and accident, factors that impact on health and safety, the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, the Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations 1999, the Health and Safety Executive, Health and Safety Hazards, and the Reporting of Injuries, Diseases, and Dangerous Occurrences Regulations. Right, the benefit of health and safety. Every employers have a duty of care for their employees and anyone else who may be on their premises. Obviously, it protects staff from injuries such as back pain, falling from height, asthma, injuries from slips and trips, and asbestos, illness or coming into any other form of harm in the workplace. Reduce absence, improve productivity, saving money by retaining staff, and it also makes good business sense. Now, the main causes of workplace ill health and incident, there are so many of them. There are slips, trips, and falls, muscle strains, being hit by falling object. Now, depending where you work, if you work in a catering environment, this list will be completely different. Okay, repetitive strain injury, crashes and collisions, cut and lacerations, inhaling toxic fumes, exposure to loud noise. If you work, for example, in some construction site, lifting, it is so easy to injure yourself while lifting heavy objects. Lightning, poor lighting can be a major cause of trips, falls, and other workplace injuries. So if you work, for example, in a kitchen, you've got to make sure that the place that you work, lighting is sufficient to make sure that you can see properly. Violence, hundreds of people die each year from workplace violence. This is one of the causes of workplace ill health and accident. Stress, very common. Fatigue, shortcuts. Now, there are also factors that can impact on our health and safety. Health and safety hazard can appear due to factors such as people, equipment, material, environment, and process. Now, it is very important for employers to understand those factors for building a strong health and safety program. So each of the 5 factors as that cause health and safety hazard at a workplace have unique characteristics. So these factors that cause health and safety hazard are people. People can cause health and safety hazard if especially they have not received adequate or maybe enough training to understand health and safety. Equipment, that's why if you purchase new equipment, if maybe if you are new in the environment where you are working, you've got to make sure that you understand how those equipment operate. Material, environment, and process. Now, how do people can affect health and safety hazard? Now, the first factor that can cause a health and safety hazard is people, as we explained before. People's actions, whether they display them or not, have a significant impact on workplace health and safety. Now, therefore, actions become one of the major factors that cause health and safety hazard. So, How is your behavior, your attitude toward understanding health and safety, but also depend on how you implement or you apply health and safety to what you do. Equipment include tools and machines that people work with. Further, equipment include those to which people are near. Equipment can include fixed machines, vehicles, material handling devices, hand tools, protective equipment, and personal gear. Moreover, some equipment can potentially emit harmful chemicals. Furthermore, certain equipment can produce physical agents such as heat, noise, vibration, or radiation during operation. All depend on where you work, whether you work in a catering environment or maybe in a factory or maybe in a bakery. It all depends. Material include raw material, product, hazardous chemicals, and other substances that workers use, process, or handle. Now, therefore, it is important to be aware about the damage material can cause to the property. Now, these damages could be owing to spills, corrosions, burns, or explosions. Next, environment. Environment refers to all part of a workplace. For example, when you are in the kitchen working in a catering environment, then your environment is part of your workplace. Your kitchen, it is your environment. Now, there are 6 aspects of a workplace that can be a potential hazard. The condition of all surfaces on which people work or where a company places its things is important. Further, unsafe or poor conditions such as overcrowding and poor ventilation become important. Hazard caused by physical agents such as light, temperature, and noise are vital to analyze. Maintenance hazards such as blocked stairs, debris on stairs, and blocked floors and exit are critical for hazard analysis. Process considers how things are done at the workplace as a whole. Now, therefore, it connects the previous contributors: people, equipment, material, and environment. Now, process covers the hazard that may be prevalent. A process between these factors occurs. Now, the next point, we're going to be talking about Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. Now, before 1974, approximately 8 million employees had no legal safety protection at work. You may see how these Health and Safety at Work Acts are important. Now, the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974 provides the legal framework to promote, stimulate, and encourage high standard of health and safety in places of work. So what does it do? It protects employees and the public from work activities. So Health and Safety at Work Act 1974 is very, very important for you. So it's always important to try to understand it, read about it when you go for your training, because it protects you and also the public from work activities. So everyone has a duty to comply with the act, including employers, employees, trainees, self-employed, manufacturers, suppliers, designers, importers of work equipment. Now, who is responsible? Employers' responsibilities, employees' responsibilities. You've got to understand that you, as the employer, you have responsibilities in terms of health and safety. And you employees also, you have certain responsibilities. Now, what are your responsibilities as an employer? So the Health and Safety Act 1974 places a general duty on employers to ensure, so far as is reasonable, practicable, the health, safety and welfare at work of all their employees. Now, employers must comply with the Act. Very important. Providing and maintain safety equipment and safe systems of work. You must provide a safe place of employment. Provide a safe working environment. You must also provide a written safety policy / risk assessment. You've got to look after the health and safety of others, for example, the public. Talk to safety representatives if you want to understand how things work. So an employer is forbidden to charge his or her employees for any measures which he or she is required to provide in the interest of health and safety. So folks, if you work for somebody, your employer is forbidden to charge you for any measures which he or she is required to provide in the interest of health. Responsibilities for employees. You've got to make sure that you take responsibility for your own health and safety and that of others who may be affected by their act or omissions. Make sure you cooperate with your employer on health and safety issues. You've got to be familiar with and follow policies, procedures, and instructions. You report any accident, damage, unsafe acts or conditions, near misses or loss as soon as reasonably possible. Make sure you report immediately any condition which may affect your ability to work safely. Ensure you attend any related training courses provided for you. Now we're going to be talking about the Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations 1999. The MHSWR require employers to put in place arrangements to control health and safety risks. As a minimum, you should have the processes and procedures required to meet the legal requirement, including a written health and safety policy if you employ 5 or more people. Assessment of the risk to employees, contractors, customers, partners, and any other people who could be affected by your activities. And make sure you recall the significant findings in writing if you employ 5 or more people. Any risk assessment must be suitable and sufficient. Arrangement for the effective planning, organization, control, monitoring, and review preventive and protective measures that come from risk assessment. Access to competent health and safety advice, and provide employees with information about the risks in your workplace and how they are protected. Make sure you give instruction and training for employees in how to deal with the risks, ensuring there is adequate and appropriate supervision in place, consulting with employees about their risks at work, and current preventive and protective measures. Okay, well done to have come so far in this video to understand the ins and outs of health and safety. So next we're going to refresh our mind. In the following pictures, you are going to identify the risks of hazard in these scenarios and write the solution. Let me repeat again. So in the following pictures, you are going to identify the risks of hazard in these scenario and make sure you write the solution. And I'll see you in the next phase. Okay, so what is the Health and Safety Executive? The Health and Safety Executive, HSE, is the independent body responsible for health and safety policy and the enforcement of health and safety law in the United Kingdom. What does it do? It promotes safer working practices, advising employers and workers on health and safety. It carries out relevant research and develops health and safety policy and strategy. And it also ensures compliance with health and safety law through inspections, investigations, and prosecutions. What is RIDDOR? Reporting and Responsibilities. RIDDOR stands for Reporting of Injuries, Diseases, and Dangerous Occurrences Regulations 2013. So, the reporting of injuries, diseases, and dangerous occurrences regulations. Now, this is a piece of health and safety legislation that provides a structured approach to the way health and safety incidents are reported by your employers. RIDDOR applies to every workplace and put duties on employers, the self-employed, and the people in control of work premises, the responsible person, to report and keep record of work-related accident which caused death, work-related accident which caused certain serious injuries, reporting injuries, diagnosed cases of certain industrial diseases, and certain dangerous occurrences, incident with the potential to cause harm. Now, why is RIDDOR important? RIDDOR is in the place to hold employers responsible for negligence or bad working behaviors. Now, if employers fail to report incident, they are breaking the law. By reporting any incident as required, employers ensure that these risks are addressed, don't escalate, and are kept to a minimum. Additionally, reporting under RIDDOR ensures employers are fulfilling their duty of care by dealing with any health and safety failings. Now, the legislation encourages organizations to follow health and safety procedures to help keep everyone safe while at work. Now, a consistent health and safety record helps to protect the image and the reputation of the company. Reportable incidents. In order to comply with RIDDOR, you need to report certain types of incident and injuries to the HSE. Not all accidents need to be reported. Now, when is RIDDOR report is required? This report is required when the accident is work-related. The accident results in an injury or of a type which is reportable. Now, for the purposes of RIDDOR, an accident is a separate, identifiable, unintended incident that causes physical injury. Now, under the legislation, there are 4 types of reportable injuries. It's very important to remember. Now, the first one is death. Death, obviously, or death to workers and non-workers, with the exception of suicide, must be reported if they arise from a work-related accident, including an act of physical violence to a worker. Now, what are the specified injuries to workers? The list of specified injuries in RIDDOR 2013 Regulation 4 We have fractures other than the fingers, thumbs and toes, amputations, any injury likely to lead to permanent loss of sight or reduction in sight. Any crash injury to the head or torso causing damage to the brain or internal organs. Serious burns including scarring, which covers more than 10% of the body or causes significant damage to the eyes, respiratory system or other vital organs. Any scalping requiring hospital treatment. Any loss of consciousness caused by head injury or asphyxia, or other injury arising from working in an enclosed space which lead to hypothermia or heat-induced illness, or requires resuscitation or admittance to hospital for more than 24 hours. Now, injuries to non-workers. Work-related accident involving members of the public or people who are not at work must be reported if a person is injured and is taken from the scene of the accident to hospital for treatment to that injury. Reportable occupational diseases. Now, employers and self-employed people must report diagnosis of certain occupational diseases where these are likely to have been caused or made worse by their work. Carpal tunnel syndrome, severe cramp of the hand or forearm, occupational dermatitis. Now, who should submit a RIDDOR report? Only responsible persons, including employers, the self-employed, and people in control of work premises, should submit report under RIDDOR. Record keeping. Keeping suitable and accurate record helps you to identify patterns in accident and injuries and will help you when undertaking your risk assessment. Okay, we've come to the end of our module 1, Introduction to Health and Safety. Now next, we're going to check your knowledge. Question number 1. So you're going to choose the correct answer. Question number 1. One of the benefit of health and safety is A. It improves employees' wages. It improves productivity. Comply with customer satisfaction. Number 2. Under the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, an employer must provide a bright, cheerful place to work, safeguard the safety and health of all employees, give everyone their very own copy of company safety policy, provide personalized hard hat in a variety of color. Number 3, what is the most important reason why or accident should be investigated and recorded? A. Comply with the health and safety law. Satisfy the enforcement officer. Something to read on the law. Prevent similar accident in the future. Number 4, what is a hazard? A. Anything with the potential to cause harm, where an accident is likely to cause harm. C. The likelihood of something going wrong. D. An accident waiting to happen. Question number 5. What is a recommended minimum temperature for office work and similar non-physical activities? A. 20 degrees centigrade, 16 degrees centigrade, 13 degrees centigrade, 100 degrees centigrade. And the last question is, who has responsibility for health and safety at your workplace? A. The client and main contractor only. B. Self-employed contractors only and employees. C. Employers, employees and subcontractors. and D, everyone at your place of work, no matter who employs them. Right, so we have come to the end of module 1, and I'll see you in our next module. Module 2, we're going to be talking about risk assessment. I'll see you in our next video.